Hello everybody, welcome back to the channel and hiking the Wainwrights. Can you believe it? This is episode 6 already, slowly but surely creeping down the eastern fells, so I'm getting there. If you cast your mind back a few weeks when I did the Clough Head and the Dodds and Rays and Whiteside, that was the northern ridge of the Helvellyn massif. Today I'm going to go and do the opposite end, the southern ridge, which includes Nethermost Pike, Dollywaggon Pike and a little bit of an outlier called Sandal. It's around about a 7-mile walk. There's some pretty nasty bits in terms of walking up steep sections. It's going to be quite tough, but it'll be worth it. Once I get up to Dollywaggon, it's a nice, steady, gentle climb up to Nethermost there. However, I have to say there are going to be very little views today because as I was driving through the lakes, I was watching the cloud base get lower and lower. I think it's all going to be in clag. So even Sandal, which is the lowest point today, really the lowest summit, the top of it was just in the clouds. So I don't know what we're going to see. I don't know what views we're going to get, which is a real shame. But this is a commitment I made when I started this. I was going to come out every week, rain or shine, clag or no, and just get out here and do it. So it just doesn't matter, does it? It's just nice. And you guys will be able to see the terrain and the routes, and I'll try and explain and describe stuff the best I can, Normally you'd be able to see this. So I've actually just parked up in Wythburn, and it was literally 30 seconds ago I completely changed the route. I was going to go and do this route in a clockwise direction, and I thought, you know what, I'm going to do it the other way around because I always do it that way. Let's go and do it anti-clockwise. Let's go and have a look and see exactly where we're going today. From the car park at Wythburn, I've headed up onto Redbrow Forest Track, walking south towards Dunmail Rays, where I'll cross Rays Beck at the ford. And it's at this point that I begin the ascent, following the course of Rays Beck and really enjoying those waterfalls. Then I'll leave the main path, heading to the first summit of the day, Sandal, followed by a slightly demoralising descent before an agonising climb up towards Dollywaggon Pike, second summit of the day. And then it's just a leisurely stroll along the south ridge, taking in High Crag and heading over to Nethermost Pike. And from here you can head on up to Helvellyn if you so wish, but I'm going to head down to Birkside and Coombe Crags, back down to the forest track and into the van. So as you can see, the potential for views is incredible. If you look at my previous videos you'd be able to see them anyway, but listen, you never know. You never know what might happen. It all might lift off and blow out and we get epic conditions. So the first challenge of today is to get across Rays Beck at the ford. Now that could go either way. It could be quite dry, it could be a bit of a nightmare. It's been a while since I've done this, so it'll be interesting to see how we get on. So let's go and have a look. Okay, that was Birkside Gill. Cute little stream running down to bottom of Dunmail Rays there. Very nice indeed. Hey, Hurdy. Yeah, not amused. Right, so you can actually see now Dunmail Rays. Let me just get you over here a little bit more. This is Dunmail Rays. Look how busy it is. Flipping out. I must admit it was a bit of a nightmare driving in today. Just coming up through Bonus and Ambleside. Now on this permissive path, heading up towards the top of Dunmail Rays Pass, which is this here. So Dunmail Rays is, if you don't know, is the pass that connects Thirlmere over to Grasmere side. And it's quite an interesting place actually, because it can sometimes be a bit of a weather barrier. You might be on the south side, it might be raining and sleet and wind and all that kind of stuff, and you cross over Dunmail Rays and it's like a summer's day up here, and vice versa, It's weird. I call it Dunmail Divide. Or maybe other people do, I don't know. And you can see a little bit of Helm Crag over there in the distance as well. You can very, very clearly see the howitzer. I don't know if you can see it on here though. So yes, it's a gentle stroll over to the ford at Rays Beck, and that's when it really starts to get, after Rays Beck, it gets a little bit, well, uphill basically. It's time to go up. I'm looking forward to the waterfalls. They really are beautiful on Rays Beck. Anyway, let's go a bit further on. And I'll try to keep the talking to a minimum. All right, we're just approaching the ford now. It's going to take us over Raised Beck. It's just here. But before I show you that, I'll show you now. We can actually see first sight of Seat Sandal. That isn't the top, unfortunately. It goes on beyond that. And Raised Beck is basically going to go between the two. This is Willie Wife Moor, Grow Up, and obviously Seat Sandal. We're going to go between the two, the cleft. Here we go. This is the ford. I think I'll just film it as I go through so you can see what it's like. But as you can see, it's not high at all. My only concern is these shoes. I've seen better days. All the uppers are split and water gets in very, very easily now, so I need to be careful. I don't want to get wet feet right at the beginning of the walk. I think what I'm going to do is from there to there, over to there. Well, that was much easier than I remembered actually. I remembered getting really wet feet last time, but I guess it's so low. There's not been a lot of rain at all lately. Yeah, it was literally one step across and that was it. That's it, done. Well, you know, that first obstacle is done. Obviously we've got all of the walk yet to do. You know, I love summer, but I'll be glad when all this lot dies back. It's hideous going through it because you know what's hanging on the tips of the branches. You know that you're going to find something later on that you don't want to be finding in places that you don't want to be finding them in. So the path is actually on that side of the wall, but that's where the bracken is. So what I'm going to do is stay on this side a little bit longer, for as long as I can really. A bit more bouldery, a bit more rocky, but I'm not wading through chest high. Tick! Ooh, infested bracken. Woohoo! That was close. I know I rave on a lot about paths, but some of them are just so special, aren't they? They really are. This would be a nice picnic spot, wouldn't it? Beautiful. It's only about 20 minutes from Dunmail Raise, so there's the road down there. You can easily bomb it up. Looks like the sun's trying to get out. You never know, you never know. I mean, the cloud base is still really low over there. It is now levelled off significantly, kind of at the top of the main waterfalls really. The path up to Seat Sandal is literally around this corner here. Right, I'm going rogue. I did not see the beginning of that path whatsoever, so I'm just going to go straight up the fell side. It's not so bad, it's pretty straightforward. Doesn't seem, touch wood, that boggy at the moment. It's just fairly grassy. If I go straight up like this, in theory, I should pick up the path. Just going to basically ascend into oblivion now. It's all clagged in at the top, and it's all clagged in. Well, you can see it, look at it. So that's where I'll be going later on. That's Dollywaggon basically. Very low cloud base and very thick cloud by the looks of it. So zero views today. Stop mourning. You're in the Lake District, having the best time of your life. It's wonderful. Let's get up there. Let's get into the cloud. Okay, it really feels like I'm in the middle of nowhere now. Lost in the clouds. But I love it. I love these conditions, I really do. However, summit is just here. About 15-20 minutes from the path to the top here, so not too bad at all. Here we go. You can see the summit pile of stones there looming in the mist. Well, that sure is a shame that there are no views from here, because it is a pretty good little bump because it sits on its own. You do get these great views out towards Grasmere and the west, and obviously, you know, you've got Fairfield here, Grisdale Tarn down that way. You can see right over towards Ullswater and Gowbarrow, and obviously where we're going today, up Dollywaggon and Nethermost Pike. And I was going to go and show you Gavel Crag as well, because obviously Wainwright draws attention to that, in that it looks like pillar rock, and it really does from a certain angle, from the path and even from the road. Actually, to drive in, you can look up towards Gavel Crag, and it does look like a little mini pillar rock over on pillar, but won't be able to see it at all, unfortunately. I'll be able to show you a lot of white, nothing more. There's no point in hanging around, because if I hang around it's going to get cold. I can feel it's quite cool in the cloud here, obviously with the moisture. So I'm going to head down now, follow this wall, and it's going to take me back down towards Grisdale Tarn. And I'm not going to go all the way to Grisdale Tarn. I'm going to go up straight up to Dollywaggon, and I tell you what, that's the bit I'm dreading more than anything else. It's horrendous. It's so steep. Look at them. Aren't they cute? They just love it. They don't care. They don't care about rain. They don't care about clag. They don't care about lack of views. They're just like, I've got my grass. I'm happy. I'm going to say this probably many times today. I love walking in the cloud. I love it. I love it up in the lakes here in the mountains. I love it at home on the fell out the back of my house when I'm walking Finn. I don't know, there's just something quite magical about it. You're shrouded by it, hidden by it. Maybe it's because I'm a little bit introverted. I don't know, maybe it's because of that. Right, just dropping out of the cloud base now, starting to see a little bit more of the terrain below. Not a lot, has to be said. A little bit. Getting a little glimpse of Grisdale Tarn down there now. Hopefully you can see that. There is a legend of Grisdale Tarn to do with King Dunmail, which is what Dunmail Race is named after. I mentioned it and talked about it in a previous video, so I'll link to that in the description where I tell that story. Probably not very well, but I can't actually remember it at all now. But it's interesting. It's about King Dunmail, his crown's in the tarn there, and his men raising him from the dead one day. Like I said, link in the description if you can be bothered. There we go, look at that. Really clearing out now, at last. So far on this walk I've seen 2 people, and that's it. I've not seen anybody else, not even from a distance. So luckily I've got a little bit of a navigation aid here actually. I could just make out the bottom end of the wall that's going to take me up to the top of Dollywaggon. If I head towards that now, I should be okay, and then, well, I can clag him as much as he wants then. I can just handrail up that wall. Bogville around here. A little bit soggy. Oh. I didn't realise, but my cap was completely soaking wet, so now I've got nothing from my head and I feel very exposed, and it feels like it's getting cold. So I'm a little bit worried about that. I've not brought a hat today, a woolly hat. You kind of wouldn't think you'd have to, would you, in August, but there you go. So the cloud base has dropped right down now, almost down to Grisdale Tarn itself. So I need to be very, very careful navigating. It could be quite tricky. A bit like this area here, it's so boggy around here, look at this. But I can just make out the bottom of that wall that I mentioned before. So I'm keeping an eye on that, even though you're not supposed to use walls and stuff like that because they're man-made structures and could disappear. I know. I can see a rock there. It's always a bit risky, isn't it? You know, you kind of commit. I'm going to commit. Oh, it's not a rock. It was a big pile of poo. Now then, if you're going to do this route, you need to be aware of this. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. This next section is awful. It's so steep. Not technically difficult, you know, you're not scrambling or anything like that, it's just very, very steep ground. Yeah, so just be mindful of that if you do come and do this route. I love that wall, I love it. So you can hopefully see the path that's going off up the hill there. And thankfully, because it is clagged in, I can't see the really, really steep bit a bit further up. Right, let's get up here. Once this is done, then I've broken the back of all the climbing today really, because actually once I get to Dollywaggon, then it's sort of like a gentle roller coaster up to Nethermost Pike. So let's go and get this done. Hey Hurdy. This is a real quad and calf burner. There's the angle, look. That's how steep we're going. I'll tell you something, if you ever wanted to build your fitness up, doing hill reps on this would do it. So I'm kind of glad about the fog, to be honest with you. It just means I can't really see where we're going. Sometimes ignorance really is bliss. Just zigzagging a little bit as well, actually. Just taking some of that steepness out. It's finally starting to level off a little bit now. It's about 10 minutes of sheer agony. If you are unsure about doing this particular route, what you could do is you could take the alternative route and go around the top of Grisdale, so the north side of Grisdale town, and pick up the main tourist path up to Dollywaggon. You might be able to see it looming through the fog now. The post. This is marked on the map as post. It's quite a handy little way marker. I sure am glad to see it. I don't know if you can hear that little tune it's playing there. Wind blowing through the little holes where the steel cables used to be. But now at the point where the path crosses, intersects my path. So if I was to go that way, I'd end up going to Nethermost Pike direct. That's the way to Helvellyn. And if I go that way, I'd end up going back down to Grisdale town. That's the tourist way up. That's the way you could come up if you didn't want to come up this steep bit. It's going to be interesting navigating up there. I need to be very careful because obviously this western slope is very grassy and gentle. However, the eastern side of this ridge is basically a plunge into the chasm of doom. I actually think what I'm going to do is head off as far east as I can go to the point where it's pretty obvious that there's a large drop like this here, look. So you can see this is the edge of Dollywaggon going down to Falcon Crag and Tarn Crag that way. The views from here ordinarily are absolutely incredible, they really are. All right, here we are on the summit of Dollywaggon Pike. Look at those views. I'll tell you what, it feels like an alien landscape. It feels like, actually, I'm on the set of Aliens. I'm somewhere on LV-426. Just imagine a face hugger coming out of the mist or something. But this little bit here, this little spur that drops off from the main ridge is called the Tongue, and it drops down into a place called Cock Cove. Okie dokie, it's pretty cold now, the wind's got right up, and obviously because I'm in the cloud, there's a lot of moisture and I'm getting absolutely soaked. I don't know if you can see that. So I'm going to head off, this is the actual summit here, look. I'm going to head off into some direction, God knows where I'm going, but heading off towards Nethermost Pike, but I'm going to hit High Crag first. Ooh, that wind's really got up. Very, very windy. I know a lot of you have been really enjoying the labelling of the fells and what have you in the distance. Today should be really easy. Just like, you know, the Lake District. Oh shit, he blew over then. Right, let's switch on. Some big drops here. Yeah, that's a big drop. That looks like hell. Just want to say that I would not be walking this close to the edge in the winter if there was snow on the ground, deep snow. Because, I mean, I'm only walking here because I can see the solid ground, but in the winter you don't know. And this place, the whole of this ridge is notorious for cornicing. So the wind blows from, you know, the west to east like it is today, blows the snow across, and then cornice forms. And that is very precarious. If you stand on that, you'll just go straight through and obviously fall to your death. So I'm actually on the main path again now. Dropped off at Dollywaggon Pike, picked up that main path that the post was on. Really enjoying this huge drop actually, and this sort of stuff. I love it when you get the big moody loomage. Look at that. Oh, this to me is the Lake District, you know. It really is. It's very Heaton Cooper-esque. Okay, this is High Crag. Not that you'd be able to tell. I could have just stayed on Dollywaggon and told you it was High Crag. Might try that one next time. You'll never know. Anyway, so this is High Crag, and yeah, view's looking good. But it's not far now over to Nethermost, and I think we pretty much contour all the way around to the huge flat summit that is Nethermost. So let's go and have a look at that. That's the highest point of the day. Let's go. I think just to be on the safe side, I'm going to stay by the edge that way. I'm not going to disappear into nothingness, you know, going over there and get completely lost. I think for a lot of people this would be hell. I don't think they'd enjoy this. However, I think if you're warm and you're dry, it's quite a special place. Whatever you do, don't turn right. Oh, it's turning right. Don't turn right. Hey, Hurdy. Oh, it's got the little white mask. Love it. Well, it really is a shame that you can't see into Nethermost Cove because it's a very, very special place. So much so that it is actually a Natural England SSSI site because of the flora that grows down there. There's an Arctic alpine plant that grows down there. I think it's called downy willow, and there's only a handful of places in the whole of England that it grows, and this place has a third of it. So it's very rare, and it's all growing down here. Well, a third of it's growing down here. Down there somewhere in the pit of doom. And it's obviously special geologically. This is all part of the BVG, which is the Borrowdale volcanic group. But yeah, can't see it. Could be anything. Could be Blackpool. All right, I'm actually at a point now. If I keep following the edge, I'll hit a place called East Ridge, and it's the ridge that comes up from Nethermost Cove, and it's a route up to Nethermost Pike actually. So that's not going to take me to the summit. I'm afraid the summit is over there somewhere. So I'm going to go and try and find it. Let's go onto this vast flat plateau and see if I can locate the summit of Nethermost Pike without getting lost. I remember coming up here a few winters ago and it was snow on the ground, whiteout like this, complete whiteout. And when it's a complete whiteout, it's very, very disorientating. And you know that there is a huge drop somewhere, you don't know where. You could be walking on cornice and all that kind of stuff. So it does scare you quite a lot. There's literally nothing. I can't see anything. There are no features anywhere. I'm completely and utterly disorientated. I can't tell which is north, which is east. There's just no gradient in the ground. I can't tell if it's dropping down or going up. It really does play with your mind. Oops. Am I lost? Although there's something here, look, let's have a look. Okay, it's a shelter of sorts. Not much of one. Interesting looking rocks. Like razor blades. Definitely looks like there's a little bit of a slope there. Definitely looks higher that way. Right, I'm heading back up because it did look like it was sloping back off there, so I'm heading up this way where it looks a little bit higher ground. It's so easy to get lost here, it really is, but so wonderful at the same time. Aha, now then, let's have a look. I think this is it. I think this is it. This looks familiar to me. Done it! Made it to the summit. Now I just need to make it off somehow. Here we go. Well, sort of heading towards Helvellyn now, really, and pick up that main path. I'm probably going to get lost again, aren't I? All right, so I've actually made it onto the main path now that will take me over to Helvellyn, if I so wished. Now, if you're doing this route, it would kind of make sense to go over to Helvellyn, but no point in going up this. The idea today was to actually go over to just above Lad Crag. There's a nice little place you can sit there and you can watch the people going over Striding Edge. In my mind's eye, that's what I was going to do. I'm going to sit there for a few hours. I've got Factor 50 on today, you know, I thought it's going to be a beautiful day. I mean, I've even brought the drone as well today. I think rather than going to do that and sitting on Lad Crag and freezing half to death, I think what I'm going to do is start to make my way back down to Wythburn and hopefully drop below the cloud base. Maybe get some views at some point, which would be nice out towards the west there. So pretty much follow this path now all the way down to Coombe Crags. So the path zigzags across the top of Coombe Crags, and that's actually a really nice spot to get some views looking west across the park. Normally, let's see if it is today. All right, I'm starting to get really excited now because I've got a little glimpse of Thirlmere then. Can you see it? No, it's gone. I really wanted to bring you amazing scenery, and all I've brought you is just misery and gloom. I'm very sorry. Seriously, am I that terrifying? What is it with sheep? I know what it is. It's the heat. I don't like the heat. It's too shiny, too white. There's not a lot I can do about that. Hallelujah. I can actually see something. Ah, that is Thirlmere, and that is looking very dry at the moment. You can really see the water's right down. This is Coombe Crag here that we're heading, the path kind of heads over the top of, and you can see the path zigzagging down below it. So we'll be going round and then down into yonder woodland over there. Could get some good views, you know, from the top of there. Might get lucky, might get lucky. Yeah, so let's keep on going down and see if the views open a little bit more, to the point where I might even get my flipping camera out. Just look at it. Oh, I will never, ever tire of that. Beautiful. What a beautiful place. Oh, it just blows my mind. It really does. I get a little bit emotional when I look at it. So I was in my head planning at this point want it all cleared out to get my camera out, but I don't know, there's no light hitting the ground. Obviously there's light hitting the ground, you know, otherwise you won't see anything, but you know what I mean, there's no sunlight actually hitting patches of it or anything like that. It's just a bit flat, and I think a photograph of that, though it looks beautiful now with the eyes, I think the photograph would be lost really, unless you pick out little bits. I mean, there are some nice trees over there, the pine trees, that you could maybe pick out, zoom in a little bit, but it's a lot of faff to get my bag off and get my camera out. Can't be bothered. But how nice is this path? And you can see it zigzags down. You can see the guy there on the mountain bike. It's at this time of day when you're a little bit tired and maybe a little bit giddy and delirious that you end up falling. So I need to be really careful and not run down this flipping path. The stones are sloping downwards. On a wet day, oh, you just end up sliding all the way down the bottom with broken legs and arms. So many paths like that in the Lake District. I'm not mourning. Well, I am mourning. I always mourn. I always gotta have a mourn on these walks. Blue sky. I can actually see blue sky. I'm slightly worried now that it's all clearing out and there's going to be an absolutely unbelievable sunset on the top of Nethermost Pike. I'm going to get in a van, I'm going to drive off and not look back, because that's what it'll be like. It'll be just epic. How lovely is this path though? Wow. It's funny because I always come up this way and I'm always a little bit out of breath and sweating already. I mean, it's not very high, but I never look back this way. It's lovely, it really is lovely. That steel fell over there. I kind of feel like I've got things hanging from me. There's a real soft, magical light around at the moment. Over there, again, probably a bit tricky to get in a photograph. So it's just nice to look at it with the old eyes. Okay, let's go to the van. God, got a bit of a sweat on coming down there then. But I'm now back on the path that I was on before when I first started, that forest track, which means the car park is down there, Wythburn car park and Wythburn church. So yeah, a couple of minutes down there and I think it's time for the pub. Let's go. Okay, back at the van. Last man standing. I can't believe the car park is completely empty. I thought there'd be at least somebody here. So I'm sorry about the rubbish weather today in terms of getting views. I know you didn't see certainly what I wanted you to see, but hopefully it gives you an idea. And that is just the Lake District anyway. That's what it's like. You don't know what you're gonna get, do you? And like I said up there, I love those conditions. They're quite special, and hopefully you do as well. Hopefully it resonates in your heart and your soul in the same way as it does with me. So I hope you can see me out on the next one, episode 7. It's a long one, so I hope to see you there. In the meantime, let's go to the Badger Bar. Yeah. I'm a nervous wreck. To be honest with you, not far now to Nethermost. Put my teeth back. Can you see Phil down there now? My eyes are deceiving, maybe. Oh, is it bedtime yet?